What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about something that's always overlooked when people are trying to build credit. And by overlooking this one area, you can actually make yourself get denied the next time you go into a lender after you think you have been doing some good things as far as building credit. I'm Will Frazier, your credit expert, bringing you the tips you need to get your credit back on track, because what goes down must come up. And if you want your credit score to drop 300 points, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified of any new videos I drop just like this. And if you've been trying to build credit and you have not been seeing much success, don't forget to try my Boost course down in the description. It walks through all of the types of accounts that you should be using when you're trying to build credit, how long it takes to build credit, what steps you need to take in order to make sure that you do see approvals when you actually go into lenders. All that information is covered in the course. You can check that out down in the description. So now, what's this thing that everybody is overlooking when they're trying to build credit that is actually causing them to not see good results when they go to the lender to try to get approved for something? This area, and there are several different areas when it comes to building credit, but this area is basically the reporting to the credit bureaus. So what I'm talking about is every time you get an account to try to build credit, the reason why you're getting that account to build credit is because you want your credit score to increase by you showing good payment history, and you want that to reflect on your credit report so that when you go and try to get something with a lender, a credit card issuer, you want to make sure that you get approved because you have good credit history that you've built up. Now, the problem is every account is not built equally as far as the accounts that you would try to obtain in order to build credit. And while there are different aspects that are different between each type of account, the main thing I'm talking about here is if they report to the credit bureaus or what credit bureaus they actually report to. Now, here's why that's so important. Basically, whenever you go to a lender or you apply for a credit card, what they're going to do is they're going to pick a certain credit bureau that they check, and they're going to check that credit bureau for your credit report and your credit score. They will then try to see if your score meets their requirements at that bureau, and then they're going to see if there's anything on your credit report that would make them deny you. That's even if your score is where it needs to be, they still look at your credit report to see if there are certain things on there that they don't like. Based on these two factors, they would make a decision and give you an approval or a denial. Now, the part that's really, kind of sticky that messes things up for people is that each lender, each credit card issuer, depending on what you're applying for as well, checks a different credit bureau. They don't all check the same bureau. They're not all checking Equifax. They're not all checking Experian. They're not all checking TransUnion. Now, when it comes to getting a house, they definitely will check all three, but in most instances, it's going to be one credit bureau that's going to be checked for whatever it is that you're applying for. And let's say you're applying for a car, they have several different lenders that they use, and each one of those lenders may check a different bureau. So even if you're seeing multiple bureaus get hit with an inquiry when you go apply for a car, that's not because all of them check all bureaus. It's because each individual one has a particular bureau that they check, and they can all be different. So you know that lenders do this now. How does that affect you? Well, basically, if you get an account to try to build credit, and that particular account only reports the account to one credit bureau or maybe two, then you go to a lender that checks a credit bureau that lender does not report to. Then basically your score will not be improved and your credit report will not be improved on that credit bureau. So because the lender that you went to checked that bureau that you did not get to build up credit with, then you will get a denial even though you thought you were doing a whole lot of good activities by just trying to build credit. And there are also some accounts that don't report to the credit bureaus at all. Reporting to the credit bureaus is not a requirement that any lender has to do. They all choose to do it if they want to do it. So basically, they don't have to do it, so you can't make them report the account if they don't already report the account. So this brings me to the point that is very important, that you are building credit with accounts that report to all three bureaus ideally, so that you can make sure that you're covered all the way across the board. But if that's not possible, at least somebody that reports to two. So at least you have a 2 out of 3, chance of being able to build up credit in the way that you need to still get an approval that you need to get. Now, if this was information that you were unaware of or that you hadn't heard of before, please leave that down in the comments. I'm interested to know how many of you guys actually knew this or you were unaware of this while you have been trying to build credit. Of course, if you've been watching the channel, you probably know about it already. But if not, please leave it down in the comments. So now you know what it is that you need to be paying attention to, which most people overlook. So how will you be able to know what is the best places to go, or if somebody reports to all three bureaus or not. Well, on most companies' websites or banks' websites, you should be able to find it somewhere down in the details. It's usually not on the forefront of the information that they're explaining to you on how the account works, or, what is the score requirements and stuff like that. So you probably have to dig a little bit to see where it is that they report. But just to give you a good rule of thumb to look at, basically, if you're going to a small credit union or a small bank, more than likely they report to one, maybe two bureaus, and in some instances, if they're really small, they may not report to anything at all. But usually that'll be like a buy here, pay here card kind of place that may not report to the credit bureaus. But if you go to a bigger bank or one of the bigger credit unions that has more locations, basically they might be one of the ones that report to all three bureaus in most cases. Now, other than that, you have, of course, those different credit builder accounts, which do actually report to all three credit bureaus. Some of them also, report to two or one, and that just depends on which one you end up getting or signing up with. I'm going to list a few down in the description that actually report to all three bureaus so you can have an idea of who you can go with. But again, not all credit builders are going to report to all three bureaus. But if you can at least find one that reports to two bureaus, then that would be the bare minimum I would say you should go. Now, by having these accounts that report to the bureaus and actually building up credit that way, by paying attention to who they report to, that will actually help increase your chances of getting the approval wherever it is that you need to go to try to apply for something. And overall, at the end of the day, if you're making all these efforts to build up credit and it's not going to get you approved at the end of the day, that's not something that you should probably even want to be doing. Now, again, if you need more information like this, more detail in regard to building credit, check out my Boost course. It's down in the description. And also, if this video was helpful and useful to you, make sure you share it, like, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if there's any more information about building credit that you would like to know. Now, I'm going to send you to a video that'll actually help you with more information on building credit. And hopefully that helps you along your credit building journey. I thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.